Welcome to Murder and Everything Else. My name is Joy.
And my name is Cheryl, and Joy and I are two very old friends who are going to talk about murder and everything else.
Well, Cheryl, I have something controversial that I have to bring up, and this is based off of an episode we did several weeks ago. It's just an idea, and I thought about it long and hard. So a couple weeks ago, Cheryl and I did an episode about our respective summer vacations. For those of you who are just dying to listen to it, it dropped on the 1st of September, and it's called Cheryl and Joy Go on Vacation. Anyway, happy September. Wow, can you believe that?
Holy crap. Yeah.
I know. So anyway, I talked about just the trials and tribulations of air travel, but I had this genius idea. You know how when you're boarding a plane, they'll say like active military and first class, super fancy, posh people board first. And then it's anyone who's elderly or people traveling with small children who need assistance, blah, blah, blah. You can come on second. And then third, it's like, people in boarding group 1. And then it's like people in boarding group 2 through 4. And then, 20 minutes in, it's like people in group 5. And then if you're in group 7, you are so screwed because you're like the last person. What if they assigned people traveling with small children the last like 6 rows of the plane back there by the bathrooms? Because like, how nice would it be for all the kids to be sitting near each other and they're close to the bathrooms and they're close to the drinks and the snack people? How nice would that be?
Yeah, I guess. You just want to be seated earlier.
No, I just don't want to be seated next to like 2-year-olds.
You want to be moved up in the chain.
Does that sound really awful?
No, it doesn't.
Because it's not that I don't like, as you know, I love
Children.
kids. I love babies. They're not babies anymore, but I have kids. But it's the kicking of the seat in front of you and how impossible it is for a parent of 3 children to regulate how much kicking is going on.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there should be a babies only section.
Guys, if you're listening to this and you have children under the age of 5 who are active kickers on flights, hey, reach out to us and let us know. What do you think of my idea? 1. And 2, what do you do if you have 1 or 2 or 3 or 16 children? How do you keep the kids? Because like in a car, it feels good to stretch your legs out, to hyperextend them, especially when you're cooped up on like a 5 or 6 hour flight. How do you keep those little ones from kicking the people in front of you?
Hyperextend, not just extend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I understand that it's natural for a kid to get, restless and kick the seat, but, I've heard stories where the parents don't do anything about it, and I think that's definitely not right.
But it's also impossible to catch them if you're watching more than one child. And also if you've got that child on your lap, because under the age of 2, you don't have to buy an extra seat for that child. So it's impossible if you have a child on your lap and a child sitting next to you, or more than 2, to know what they're doing at all times. So they're playing around with that tray table and they're pulling shit out of how do you, like, what are you doing? I don't know. Anyway, it is a very, very, very neat suggestion. And if I'm being too old ladyish or boomery, please let me know. Because I think it's a great idea. And that way, if you've got kids sitting in front of you and some kid kicks the back of your chair, you're not going to care.
Yeah.
You really are not. But if you've got someone who's not a child sitting in front of you and you're kicking the seat repeatedly, that person is going to lose their everlasting mind.
Yeah. I don't know. I avoid all of that by not traveling on
Yeah.
planes.
Not by not leaving the house. You
Yeah.
know, you're onto something. Anyhow, rolling on to updates, guys, we have a 15th country that we'd like to welcome to our list of listening countries, and that is Israel. Thank you for becoming country number 15. Also, in other news, I want you all to know that 30% of our listeners are now coming from Audible. So, who knew that Audible was going to sneak up on us and become such a huge listening percentage? So, listen to this, Cheryl, 40% from Spotify, 30% from Audible, almost 18% from Apple Podcasts, almost 6% from Amazon Music. Web browser makes up 4.3. That's Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, etc. And then other is 1%.
Wow. Very cool.
Isn't that cool? You have any updates, Cheryl?
I do. You have rubbed off on me. You were contagious. You're contagious with your fraudulent credit card activity because I had fraudulent credit card activity, and I have to laugh at myself because I I wasn't really thinking straight. I was just seeing red because I was so annoyed. And I wrote to the company and I'm like, the subject was in all caps, unauthorized charge. I never saw, you just charged me and I never inputted my credit card information into your website. I never signed up for an account, blah, 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 right? And then I wrote back again and I forwarded my first email and I added to it and I said, and I will be reporting you to the Better Business Bureau and I will be posting everywhere about your fraudulent practices, especially on LinkedIn, because I think that's where I'm blaming everything on LinkedIn right now. And then I realized, oh, it's really not them. It's the person that stole my credit card and went to that site and opened and signed up for a membership. So before we started recording, I saw an email from them saying, apologies, we canceled your account. You'll be refunded the money. But I have to laugh at myself because it's not them. It's whoever stole my credit card. Needless to say, I canceled it and I'm getting a new one. But I think that you were contagious because you started it and then Gabe got fraudulent chart activity. And then now I have fraudulent. And I'm blaming it on you, Joy.
Yep.
But, the other thing is my message from my security, my identity protection saying your social security number was found on the dark web. And I'm like, for F's sakes, I am tired of having to try to protect myself at every turn. So I froze.
It's a lot of work.
Oh, God. There are always criminals one step ahead trying to fuck with your shit. Like, get a job.
So maybe that is their job. Anyway.
Jump off a fucking cliff.
There you go.
Sorry.
Hey, I have a shout out, Cheryl, and my shout out today is for my husband. I think he's gotten more than one shout out in the last 2 seasons. He took this older computer we had sitting here in the house, turned it into this amazing state-of-the-art workstation and recording studio. I also have to say shout out to Vinka who sold me a monitor because we didn't have one. So thanks to the two of you, you guys came in and saved the day. But I got to just say, Gabe is so talented. He's not an IT guy, but he has some mad skills when it comes to setting this up. Like, I don't even know how half of this shit works, but it is, for those of you listening, you can hear this. He did this. So thank you, Gabe. You got any shout outs, Cheryl?
I do. I for some reason I feel like men are just they're just born with some kind of technical like gene. I don't know. For the most part, don't you think? Like men are. Oh, never mind. I'm gonna get hate mail. It's not that they're better than women. It just seems,
Gonna get hate mail.
it just seems like a lot of men I know who don't do it for a living are just really good at it. Anyway, but
Yeah.
my shout out, and you're going to think this is crazy, but my shout out is to shovels because the shovel has has been a tool for me to kill critters. When
A shovel.
the so at my old place, remember the die with the roach, and like I sprayed it, things still kicking. Sprayed it again, still kicking. So I had to, I had to dismember it with a shovel. Or it was the pooper scooper, but it was like a shovel. And then
Guys,
here,
it wouldn't be a murder podcast without the word dismember.
exactly. And then I put it into a vat of muriatic acid.
Ew.
But and then here I've seen two baby scorpions. Now three. Now three. One was in Callie's stroller. One was under a mat, so it had crawled under there, and I probably stepped on the mat because it was just flattened on the back of the mat. And then one baby one outside the front door. But
Wow.
one night I let Callie out to go to the bathroom. By the way, she's pooping like a champ back there.
Again, for any new listeners, Callie is not her roommate. Callie is her dog. He doesn't make the roommate poop in the yard.
I would if I had one. So I let her out, and a freaking adult scorpion was skittering, if that's a word. It's not. I am making it skittering across the porch, and I stepped on it and moved my foot, and just like Mike Myers in Halloween, or Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street, or Jason from Friday the 13th, I moved my foot and it just kept going.
Ew, wait, did you step on it with slippers?
Of course! I don't want to get stuck.
Gross.
I had sandals on, a very thick one, and I stomped on it.
Oh.
I stopped. You know how these killers in these horror movies, you can stab them multiple times, you can shoot them in the head and the heart, you can set them on fire, and then they rise up. They rise up and they walk away, or they have that camera shot where like they're gone after they've been, just obliterated. This thing,
gross.
I moved my foot and it kept running. Now, before I moved in here, I was very afraid of the scorpions. So I bought a black light flashlight, a black light.
Can you use that in hotel rooms?
Oh, I wouldn't want to.
Well, let's go on a road trip and try it out.
Well, we can use mine. This thing works like a charm. So
Ew.
I'm telling you guys, I have gravel in my backyard, and it ran, and I'm like, God dang, I don't know where it went, and I don't want Callie to get stung. So I shone, what's the right word?
Shunned.
The black light. I didn't open the door. I just shined it, whatever, through the glass door.
Shoned it.
I shoned it. I shone it, or I shined it, whatever, through the sliding door, and it lit up like a Christmas tree. No, this black light, you guys, it actually works. It just fluoresced.
Have you used it around your apartment to see?
I will not, because
the person who lived there before you was like spooching on the walls or something.
And let me tell you, this thing works. It was like fluorescent, but when there was nothing shining on it, it was camouflaged in the gravel. With your naked eye, you could not see it. So anyway, I'm making this story too long. I have scorpion spray, poison specifically for scorpions. I get that thing out and I spray it to where it's in a puddle, okay?
And it's still running.
Just like Freddy Krueger, it comes out of the puddle with its legs and it starts moving, and I spray it again. I do this 3 times and I put it in a pool of poison. This thing would not die. And I have a shovel And I took it and I went chop, 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 chop.
Oh, gross.
Just like the roach. You guys, parts are still moving even after you
Oh my
chop it
God.
to pieces. It's so
It's
disgusting.
like a snake.
But let me tell you, you know, I have these sprays specifically for roaches, sprays for specifically for scorpions, and I ended up killing them with shovels. So my
Oh.
shout out is to a shovel. That's all I
All
gotta say.
right. There you go. You know, it wouldn't be a murder podcast without a shout out for a shovel. Next thing you know, next week it'll be duct tape. The week after that, it'll be rubber gloves and black trash bags. Anyway, rolling on to letters from our listeners. We've had a lot of listeners reach out and hit us up on text and through instant messenger, etc. Thank you to all of you, but I have a special thanks to Francoise, friend and listener of the show, who has been shopping our podcast around, which is probably why our listens have really gone up. And also,
Thank you, Francoise.
and just a heads up, Francoise, there will be a Golden Bachelorette episode in the near future. You are just going to have to sweat it out, girl, because I can't help it. I need to see what is going to happen with Joan and all those smoke shows that have signed up to date her through this process. And for those of you who are fans, it's coming. It's going to be here any day if it hasn't already started. So
Can I
there.
just say one thing? Can I
Yeah.
say one thing? Francoise, this was Joy's idea. I just want you to know that
It
I had no
was.
intention. Okay, good. You're admitting it. So you can't complain to Joy.
It was, but you know what? I'll promise you I'll make it interesting. I'll make it fun and interesting. And God, I hope there's no criers in this one. I cannot watch another season of just all the weeping. I
Oh.
can't do it.
You know there's going to be crying.
Well, I don't mind if there's a tear here and there, but
Oh,
it,
no, you know there's going to be weeping.
I mean, just the constant boo-hooing. I just can't handle it.
No,
And
there's
also,
gonna
I
be
really wish
weeping.
they would pick Susan. I just keep going back to really, really liking Susan.
Oh, yeah. She would be so entertaining.
Well, guys, this week we are headed away from murder, and I am going to do a Dear Abby or Ann Landers type of episode. For those of you who are even aware of who these ladies were, they were advice columnists. And if you do know that, you're probably 300 years old. But one of the things that very few people realize, and if they did realize it, they're probably all dead now, is that Abby and Ann Landers were sisters. And I'll do you even one better, and they were twins.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
You learn something
And-
every day.
Yep. And by 1987, over 1,200 newspapers were running the column Dear Abby. So so one of the things that is so interesting, because I looked them up, their names weren't even Abby or Ann Landers. Isn't that crazy?
Well, of course. Our names aren't Cheryl and Joy. People are going to have to figure out what our real names are.
Cheryl, listen to this. One of their names was Esther Pauline Friedman Lederer, and the other sister's name was Pauline Esther Friedman Phillips. So neither
Oh,
of them,
God. Why
I
do
know.
parents do this to their children? Why?
neither of them were named Anne or Abby or Abigail. I mean, what the actual hell? And also, if you have twin girls, don't name them the first one Cheryl Joy and the second one Joy Cheryl, because that's just not how it works. Okay.
That's cruel. That's so
Yeah. Give them their own frickin' name, for crying out loud.
own identity.
Exactly. So
They just got
anyway,
tired. The parents were tired. They didn't want to be creative. They just were
right.
like, we'll just flip it for the second one.
So
Let's flip
anyway,
it.
that is the reason this episode is called Shirley, You Can't Be Serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
So I have compiled a list of questions that I need the advice for, and I'm going to be reading those questions to our own dear Shirley, and she is going to answer them for us. So put on your advice hat. And also,
Okay.
by the way, guys, when Cheryl and I worked together many years ago, we used to call her Shirley sometimes. So
Because
that's where that comes from.
someone who shall remain nameless used to always spell my name wrong, and that's how that came
Right.
out. Schmoops, schmoopy.
That's right, Schmoopy. If you're listening to this, you know that you used to call her Shirley all the time. Anyway, so question number one
Oh gosh,
comes to us from Reddit. Okay.
pressure, the pressure.
Dear Shirley, I am a 28-year-old woman. I have been dating online for 2 years after getting out of a 4-year relationship that I thought was pretty serious and was going to lead to marriage, but didn't. I'm dealing with online dating fatigue after 2 years. The fakeness, the lies, the ADHD, the swiping, the losers, etc. How do I deal with online dating fatigue? Should I take a break or should I stop altogether?
Delete, delete, delete your online dating app. If something is making you, she's not even saying she's tired or I need a nap from this. I am fatigued. That is extreme. Why have something in your life on your phone staring at you every day, popping up with ding, 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 this match and that match, and just seeping into your soul? Why have something like that on your back in your life that's making you fatigued? Joy, it's not even like she's like, oh, I'm, it's just a little bit fatigued. That is a very extreme word. I say delete. Flirt with the guy at the grocery store or at the gas station. I don't know if people go to bars anymore.
What guy at the gas station?
The guy that's asking for $1. He's gotta be better. He's gotta be better than these guys.
When you pull up to a stoplight and the guy's right there, you roll the hey baby, what's up? You look cute. Like what?
Well, she said these guys on these dating apps are making her fatigued. She's fatigued, Joy. Like you don't need that in your life. There's enough scammers. Your social security is on the dark web. People are stealing your credit card numbers. You've got fucking scorpions that won't die when you spray it with poison 3 times. There is enough in life. You don't need to be on a dating app. If I am not the person
How's
to
she
ask,
supposed to meet people?
I just said at the grocery store, at the gas station, at bars, if people even do that anymore. Or you can do what someone did in Friends and the Identity Thief, that movie where maybe when you are scammed, because it will happen, your identity or your credit card will be stolen. You find out who it is, and then you start a relationship with them, and it'll be a really meet cute story.
Ooh.
My husband stole my credit card number, and that's how we met.
Ooh, there you go. Or you know what I heard someone say is like join a group like AA or like a book club, and then maybe you could like meet somebody through or exercise class and meet somebody that way.
That's what I'm saying. I first of all, I am very biased because I would not go on a dating site. I have never been on one, and I will never be on one. If I have to be alone, then that's fine. It has worked for some people, but I don't. I think she should. She's only 28. She's not. She should not be desperate by any means. She should take. I think she should delete it and be free of the dating apps. What do you think?
You heard it here, folks. Delete, delete, delete. That is the solution by our resident advice giver, dear Shirley.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I think that maybe what she should do is maybe just switch. So, like, I know there's like, Bumble, and there's Hinge, and there's Match, and there's Tinder, and there's some others. Like, maybe get off of one and go to another one, and maybe you have luck there. But then I was thinking, well, maybe all the same people are on all the apps. Oh,
Exactly.
there's Christian Mingle, and then there's Farmers Only. So maybe try something like Farmers Only, because maybe those people are like more genuine. Or one of the things you could actually do is, I don't know, like go to work, find somebody who is married to someone else. Obviously, they're good. It's a good idea because they're already successfully married. And ask them if you can come over and have dinner with them and their family, and then watch what they're doing and like go out and try some of those tips. The other thing is maybe go somewhere that you wouldn't normally go, like sign up for like go to church. If you don't go to church, maybe you'll meet someone at church. Or if you're not into gyms, like sign up for a gym membership, maybe you'll meet someone there. Or if you're not really like a cyclist, go buy a bicycle and start riding your bike around, and then maybe you'll meet people who are like, really into cycling because they notice that you're falling off the bike and stuff, and they'll help you.
I think my advice is better. I win.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Rolling on to question number 2. This comes to us from a listener. Dear Shirley,
Oh.
I have 2 small kids, and the neighbor lady brings her kid over every day for a play date each afternoon. While my kids enjoy playing with the neighbor kid and have fun getting together each day, I found out that there is this new trend where the host of the play date will ask for money on a Cash App like Venmo or PayPal or Apple Pay or whatever to compensate for the playdate snacks, activities, wear and tear on the home, furniture, etc. Do you think this is appropriate to ask? We never go to their house. They always come to ours.
Wow. I have questions though. Am I
Okay,
allowed to ask questions?
sure.
Now, when she says they always come to ours, is she is this neighbor just inviting herself over?
No, they're always invited to bring their kid over to play, like, you know, after a certain time each day because there's not a lot to do or the kids get bored. Um, but but there is this trend now where the host will say, "Hey, um, please don't forget to Venmo me $20. It covers the crayons, the sidewalk chalk, the bubbles, and the snack that we provided." And it holds true for like if there's one play date friend that comes over, or if there's 5 play date friends, because obviously hosting play dates can get expensive.
Yeah, but we're going to stick to this scenario, which is the neighbor across the street or whatever with the one kid, right?
Right.
Okay. I think that if you're hosting something and you invited them, you cannot charge. I'm old school like that.
Okay.
Also, you have 2 kids. If I had 2 kids, what's one more? I mean, how much chocolate extra? I just think that if it's a if it's one kid, it is situational. My answer would change based on the situation. If it's 5 kids and it's constant, I would have a conversation with the other parents, and say, hey, 5 is a little bit, you know. hard for me. Can we alternate? Can we rotate whose house we stay at, or do you mind pitching? Then I would have a conversation. But one person, one kid, if I invited them, I would not feel right charging them.
All right. That's a good solution. I like that. I also feel like you're right. If you invite somebody over, then you shouldn't slap them with a bill, you know? It
Yeah,
would be
exactly.
like if I reached out, if we lived in the same town and I said every week, let's have girls' night out, and then I invited you over to my house for dinner, I would not ask you then afterwards to give me $40 to cover wine and groceries, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, it definitely should be at something upfront.
Right.
But if you want to, hey, that actually is a way that she could make money if you're looking at trying to make some extra. Well, you are spending it though on the food and the materials and whatever. I
So
just think if you're going to host, you can't. Hosting to me means you, you're paying for everything. You're hosting.
right.
You
But
can't.
it's also different if you invite someone to your house for something versus if you say, "Hey, you want to go out to dinner or lunch at such and such?" Then everybody pays for their own bill, you
Oh
know?
yeah, yeah. See, it's different.
Well, I just have to jump in. This actually happened to me um when my kids were little. A woman approached me and said, I have like a homeschooling preschool at my house. It's for like stay-at-home moms who want to get together and like maybe host something educational. And she invited me and my kids, and we went to it. And then after like, and it was like once a month or something, or once every 2 or 3 weeks. And after the second time, she got really pissy with me and
Oh,
rude. And when I said, "Did I do something to offend you?" She said, "Well, you've come to like 2 or 3 of my preschool events and you've never given me money."
oh my gosh.
And we were all bringing snacks and we were all bringing crafts and we were all taking turns at reading the story. And I said to her, I go, "I didn't realize that it was a paid event." Because at no time did she tell me up front. Now, she told me up front, you have to pay $20 a week for this event. I would have happily paid her.
Of
But
course.
after three events, she said it's and I said, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea." I said, "I thought that one of the reasons you were doing this was to avoid having to pay to send your kid to preschool, and that's why we were all bringing snacks and crafts, etc." And she said, "Yeah, but I'm hosting. Like it costs money to host these events." And I said to her, I go like, what costs money? And she's like, "Well, it's at my house."
That's not right. And
Yeah,
you were bringing snacks, it sounds like.
and crafts.
And no, that is so wrong. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
rude.
It was
That's
so, and I
rude.
said, "So what are we paying for?" Because I said, like, is it air conditioning? Is it the water they use when they flush the toilet?
Oh my God.
I was serious, and she just went completely weird.
Oh, well, that's someone you can cross off your friend list. That's outrageous.
Right? Oh my
She's
God.
cuckoo. She is off the
Anyway,
rocker.
well, rolling on to question number 3. You are very wise, dear Shirley. Anyway, question number 3 comes to us from a listener. Dear Shirley, my husband has a great job that he loves, and he hires someone to manage the front office, and it is a job that I could do regularly and am qualified to do. The problem is, I don't want to work with my husband because I like that we spend our work days apart, but he wants me to save his business a chunk of money and come to his office and manage his business and work the front office for him to save money. What should I do?
No, no, and no. I was going to stop you halfway through your question and say, do not work with your spouse. You spend enough time together. I don't care how much money. okay, either you're saving a chunk of money or you're saving your marriage, and I think you should save your marriage. There.
Interesting. Do you think it depends on the kind of marriage they have, or do you think across the board that husbands and wives should not work together, or wives and wives, or husbands and husbands?
I'm probably projecting, but I feel like it's healthier to have a separate life or a separate interest or whatever you call it. I know it's work, but there has to be separation. Overall, that's how I feel. I know that there are people who do it, and those people are off their rockers. No, I'm just kidding. I honestly feel, I honestly feel that unless they are going to be out on the street, if she doesn't save this chunk of money, unless they're going to be living, in the park, I would say no. Save your marriage.
Save your marriage. You heard it here from dear Cherly. Good,
What do you
good
think?
one. I totally agree with you. I think that because it's a great job that he loves, he should probably keep it that way and hire someone else. And just because his wife could do the job doesn't mean she wants to. And also just think about it, if the money she makes at her job pays for that person to come in and do that job, then her work is done. She can rest easy at night knowing that they are no worse off, and that the time they spend together is more special because they're not spending 40 hours a week and then all their time at home.
24/7.
You just need that break.
Yeah.
I will say that I know it works for some people, but I don't think it works for the majority of people.
Correct.
Anyway, any of our listeners out there who might want to weigh in, if you do work with your spouse and you live with your spouse and you're together 24/7, I'd love to hear about it. And if you have the option, but you chose to pay someone else to do it, I'd love to hear about that too. So write in and let us know. We'd love to hear. Murder and everything else at gmail.com. Text us or call us or whatever. Go on our socials. We would love to hear. All right. Question number 4, rolling on, comes to us from a content creator. Dear Cherly, I have a small income and my spouse makes the bulk of our money. I want to buy a luxury item that is quite expensive, but I don't want them to know how much I've spent on said item. Do I tell them, even though I know they might freak out, or do I buy it and hide the price tag or lie about it?
Oh my gosh, who sent this in?
A content creator.
Who shall remain nameless.
Who shall remain nameless.
So odd. It sounds very sounds familiar, like someone.
Answer the question, Cherly.
Wow, this is a hard one. See,
it was such a good question. Even Callie's
crying because she's like, she wants to weigh in. Oh, this is not going to be a concrete answer because I think it depends on the relationship that this couple has. If it's this couple that I'm thinking of, I think that the husband wouldn't even care. He'd be very supportive. He would let his wife do whatever she wants. So I think she could tell him if she wanted to. I do know people who buy stuff and then hide it at someone else's house until the coast is clear and they take it home.
Shut up.
And the husband is none the wiser. And I don't think that no one's hurt in that. Again, it's kind of linked to the previous question, and all of my the determining factor to me is this going to put you on the street? Are you going to end up begging at the traffic light and have one of those cardboard signs that said, I bought this purse that put us out of house and home. Please help. So if it's not going to put you on the street and make you homeless, I think that you can do it without telling your spouse. But I think if you have a certain type of relationship, which I think this person does, I think it would be better to have it out in the open.
All right. You heard it here. Make sure you don't hide or lie about it because that's bad news. Just if it's expensive, just tell him what you spent and then make sure you have your running shoes on so you can run out the door.
No, but I'm not saying that it's not a blanket. No, I think it depends on your relationship. So if you have to hide it, like the other person I'm talking about who hid it at someone else's house until she could bring it home safely. And then, most husbands, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to criticize or speak ill of husbands.
Generalize.
They don't notice. So they see it, they're like, oh, is that new? You go, no, I've had this for ages. I just haven't used it or whatever.
Oh, not my husband. Is that a new pair of shoes? Oh.
But that's because he expects everything you wear to be new.
He's like, every pair of shoes coming out of that closet I've
is
never
new.
seen before. Oh my God.
Yeah, this one I can't give a general answer. I think it depends on your relationship.
Well, that's a good answer. Good job, Shirley.
Thank you.
Okay, question number 5 comes to us from Reddit. Dear Shirley, my partner is a registered Democrat and I am a registered Republican, and we are headed into an election year. We are both very active politically and have very strong beliefs in our respective sides. When we first married, it was exciting. We would have vigorous debate and it was fun. The last election cycle was rough on our marriage though, and what used to be exciting and fun has turned tedious and annoying. What are some tips we can use going into this cycle that will help us not end up in Splitsville?
Airbnb. For one person, they need to Airbnb not just through the election, but for the next 4 years, because whoever loses is going to be mad and whoever wins is going to be gloating. So that's my solution. You must move out. One of you must move out. Now, how you determine, you can do a coin flip or what we call junk and pull. You know what that is, right?
What?
Junk and pull. It's rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, no.
Korean.
In Korean, we say kai pai po.
Oh, junk and pull, is that Japanese then? I'm Japanese, I should know.
I don't know.
But anyway, that's the next question. How do you determine who moves out?
Yeah, that's tricky. Maybe what you could do is like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
I'd be glad to go to the Airbnb.
You would. Especially if it has lights that turn on automatically.
Scare the hell out of you in the middle of the night. And I really thought, Joy, when that happened to me, you guys, I don't know if you heard that episode, but I rented an Airbnb and I'm all snuggled with my 2 dogs, ready for bed. Lights are off. And the light in the hallway went on. Not a lamp.
I would have shit my pants.
Oh,
honestly.
Yeah, I almost did. Thank God I was wearing a diaper. But it's not like the timers can be set to the lamps and stuff, but this was a ceiling light. I'm sure you could have a timer on it. Anyway, it clicked on, and I thought my life was over. I thought someone was in, because when you rent these Airbnbs from people, there's a movie about it. You're trusting that someone's not hiding in the closet, Anyway, on a more serious note, I think that political discussions should be off limits since it's become contentious. It sounds like I think they should just have an agreement. Oh gosh, Kelly wants to weigh in. I think they should have an agreement that they will not discuss politics. That's going to be
Yeah.
the best thing. If they need to watch it or whatever, you watch it separately. You use headphones so the other person can't hear. You just
Yeah.
make it off limits in your life. Why don't you give your opinion while I help Callie so that she will stop working?
Yeah, I tend to think that they need to make a truce and they need to say, hey, what used to be exciting has now become tedious. So let's just go to our respective corners in the evening to watch the news. I'll go watch my, you know, conservative shit. You go watch your non-conservative shit or whatever. And then we won't talk about it. And instead we'll find something fun we can do together afterwards, like play a game, or we can, I don't know, like play with each other, but just avoid, talking about politics, and then like just say we'll talk about other stuff, and it can be like a fun thing that we just have, our own opinions on. Cuz yeah, I mean, no two people are going to see eye to eye on everything. All right. Question number 6 comes to us from an anonymous source.
Huh.
Dear Shirley, sometimes when there's only a small amount of cereal left in the box, it never gets eaten. It never gets eaten and goes stale, and then I have to throw it out, which I find so wasteful. So I have started mixing it in with the fresh box of cereal, and everyone in my family complains and hates it, but they still eat it because it's sweet and all tastes similar. Should I just throw out the cereal and be wasteful, or should I stay frugal and continue to save money by mixing the cereals?
Oh my God, I love this question. Oh my God, this is so awesome. Oh, because that is something that my mom and me, my mother, her, just being raised by my mother, that is something she would probably do. Like to this day, like aluminum foil, if there's nothing on it and it's not dirty, I will fold it up and put it in the drawer and you reuse it because it's perfectly fine, So I will say, before I answer, I just want to share what I do with chips, with tortilla chips. I love, like, everybody wants a whole tortilla chip, right? Because you can scoop the salsa up better than a cracked or like crumbs, right? But you know
Right.
what I do is when it gets to the bottom and they're too small to be used with salsa, I will save it and I will put it over a salad.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I do.
oh my God, high five.
Taco
In,
salad, it's so yummy.
instead of croutons, because I don't like croutons because they're too big and hard,
And they get
I will
soggy.
I put that over the salads.
Oh yeah,
So
it's genius.
now there's the issue of staleness. I get that. But here's the thing. Her family eats it anyway, right? She said.
Yeah.
So just continue to do it. It depends how
They
much.
complain bitterly.
Well, so they still eat it. Is it dust at the bottom? If it's just the dust, throw it out.
No, but like
But if
99% of cereals taste like other cereals. They're sweet and they're crunchy.
Well, and then I'm also thinking, like you and I do with the tortilla chips, and use it on a salad. She could save it to put into to top ice cream or yogurt or something, and use it for something like that.
Yeah. It just
Is it you?
is it me.
Is it you?
Yes.
I knew it was you.
Oh my God.
Tell us,
Yes.
tell us more about this. What kind of cereal is it? That
All
matters.
cereal. All box cereal. It literally, when you get to the bottom, first of all, boxes of cereal take up so much space in the pantry.
Right,
Second
right.
of all, nobody eats the bottom 2 cups of cereal. And then next thing you know, you have 18 boxes of 2 cups of
Two
cereal
cups.
in the bottom.
Exactly.
And if you put them together, they make up like 2 big boxes of cereal. So what I do is as soon as someone opens a new box of cereal, I just pour the old box of cereal into the new box of cereal.
I
And
knew it was you.
I mean, if you think about it, it's so genius because it's all crunchy. But the thing everyone hates is, hey, why is there honey bunches of oats in my Cheerios?
Oh, so it's not the same cereal. That's where you
No.
went wrong. That's where you went wrong.
But think
You
about
must
it. It's
try the
all
same-
it's all sweet. It's all crunchy.
Let me
Who
tell you
doesn't want a
something.
little life mixed in with the Cheerios mixed in
Let-
with the honey bunches of oats?
No, but let me tell you something. If you had had the stale honey bunches of oats with the fresh honey bunches of oats, they would never have been the wiser. It's only because they can see it. They would never have been like, oh, there's stale, honey bunches of oats in here. It's only because they
Exactly.
see. So you need to just
Exactly.
get a little bit sneakier with what you do.
All right. Whatever. I'm still not allowed to do it anymore, but whatever. All right. Question number 7. Good answer, by the way, Cheryl. Shirley. Comes to us from an anonymous source. Once again, dear Shirley. And this is our last question. My mother is a
Listen.
terrible cook and
Oh.
makes the most unpalatable food for family events, potlucks, holidays, etc. The problem is she is quite frugal, so when we get together and I suggest a restaurant that we all meet up at, she will veto the idea and insist on hosting a meal and cooking. How do I approach this subject in a polite way so she doesn't have her feelings hurt? Because I know she loves to cook and enjoys hosting events.
Oh, Lord. And she can't get out of it by just saying, okay, she's frugal, so she doesn't want to go out. How about if the daughter-in-law or daughter-in-law?
Daughter.
Can't the daughter just go, we're going to take you out and treat you?
But what if the daughter doesn't have enough money?
Okay. Daughter, dear daughter, this is dear Shirley speaking. You're going to have to suck it up. You're going to have to spend a lifetime of eating crappy food when you go to your mom's house. Because in reality, the daughter doesn't live there, right? She goes over to visit her mom, it sounds like. She has gathered, right? The mom's hosting, so it sounds like the daughter is on her own, right?
That's what it sounds like.
Okay, so I think you have to suck it up. I think you just have to suck it up. I have a question. Does the mom allow people to bring other things?
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute. This changes everything. This is what you do. You put some of her food on your plate, but you put a lot of food of what you brought on your plate. And then you feed it to the dog or cat. Oh, I saw in a movie where somebody put the food in their pocket, went to the bathroom, and flushed it down the toilet. So you could do that.
Girl, I used to do that. I would take a napkin. We had a napkin holder in the middle of the table. I used to spit the food into the napkin, excuse myself, go to the bathroom, flush it down the toilet, come back, repeat.
There you go. You had the answer already. Oh, this changes everything. The fact that the daughter is allowed to bring stuff. Now, if you said no, then I'm sorry, daughter, you're going to have to learn. You're just going to have to learn how to hold your nose without physically holding it and eat your mom's food. But if you can take stuff too, then you're going to have to practice being deceptive. Push the food around the plate, maybe mix a little bit of hers in with a lot of, like the cereal thing with Joy. You take a little bit of the mom's food.
Ooh, here we go. Go get the cereal that's stale, that's in the bottom of the box, pour it on top of the mom's food and eat it.
Exactly. Right? I mean, how bad can that be? But honestly, when your mom's gone, you're going to miss everything about her, including her
except the cooking. Well, guys, I gotta say, Shirley is very wise. She has very good solutions to almost all these questions, with the exception of the dating app one, which I think that it's a crime that Shirley has not been on a dating app, and I think we'll all agree. But you know what
Yep.
else is a crime?
What's that, Joy?
That we are out of time.
That is a crime, and I am a genius for staying up with dating apps. Thank you for listening, everyone, and don't complicate your day.
All creativity, commentary, and opinions in this podcast belong to Cheryl and Joy. Music composed and mixed by Gabe McKeon. Logo and merch managed by Cheryl Yamaguchi. Podcast editing, advertising, and social media managed by Joy McKeon. Legal representation provided by John Bojezic. Please like, subscribe, follow, and listen. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible.com, Amazon Music, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. And remember, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok, or you can email us at murderandeverythingelse@gmail.com.
Bye, fishes.